Alligators spend their lives in and around water. It's their lifeblood. They die without it. The scientists are mystified. What could cause this amphibious creature to drown? At first, it just seems like an ordinary death, a chance discovery amongst the tangled reeds. A bloated body, floating belly up, exposed to the elements. There is very little to alert suspicions, until a second corpse is found, and then a third. Their putrefying bodies fringing the lake, washed to the side like unwanted debris.
There was times I would go out on the lake and be able to find 10 alligators in a half a mile. And these were adult, large alligators. They, weren't little juveniles. They were 10, 12, 14 foot long, huge alligators dead, floating around on the lake.
Something is badly wrong at Lake Griffin. The reports grabbed the attention of Florida Fish and Wildlife. Alan Woodward is assigned to get down to the lake and check it out for himself. He already has his suspicions.
Gunshot wounds to the head is the most common thing you would see. Also, we looked for tails missing in case people were poaching alligators for the tail meat. The other thing that could happen is people hitting alligators with boats. You can usually see propeller scars on the back.
But the corpses tell a different story.
No signs of trauma, propeller scars, no scars, fairly intact.
None of these things were observed on any of the dead alligators.
But all is not what it seems. Not all of the gators are dead. Lake Griffin lies in the very heart of Florida, about 50 miles northwest of Orlando. It is home to one of the largest alligator populations in the state. It's the only one of Florida's 8,000 lakes to show the bizarre spate of deaths. Rotting, bloated corpses are turning up along the shoreline. Trapped in the reeds and out in the open water, amongst the floating vegetation. So a select team of investigators from 13 agencies is assembled. Among them are project coordinator Alan Woodward, Jeff Elledge of the Water Management District, pathologist Scott Terrell, and Dale Honeyfield from the Northern Appalachian Research Laboratory in Pennsylvania. It's their job to track down the killer.
It's a team effort, it really is. No one person is more important than the other because we've got to put all this information together to try and rule out things that it is not and rule in things that it could be.
They begin their investigation by observing the alligators' behavior for themselves.
We noticed alligators that showed poor equilibrium. In other words, they had a hard time righting themselves in the water. They listed to one side or another. Some of them had trouble keeping their heads above water. There was some speculation that they were eventually drowning because they could not keep their heads above water.
The scientists are mystified. What could cause this amphibious creature to drown? Alligators spend their lives in and around water. It's their lifeblood. They die without it. They use it as a sanctuary, to keep cool, to mate, to hunt. They can remain submerged for 2 hours. But the zombie gators are struggling to even swim. They float listlessly in the water or lie motionless on the bank.
The first thing you notice is that they were unresponsive. Often, you thought the alligator was dead on the shoreline.
Only sporadic twitches give away that they're still alive. Alligator behavior like this has never been seen before. This top predator is no longer able to move, let alone kill. Over 7 months, alligators are captured, and all have their stomach contents examined. What the scientists find, in test after test, are the remains of one particular species. A fish called gizzard shad. Honeyfield, for one, is not surprised.
From my previous work, I knew that gizzard shad were very high in thymidase. Thymidase is an enzyme that destroys thymin.
The pieces of the puzzle are coming together. The alligators have a thiamine deficiency. The shad are known to contain the enzyme thymidase, which destroys thiamine. Surely the shad must be the killer.
We tested that theory by actually feeding some alligators in a research study, gizzard shad, to see if it affected their thiamine levels.
The team captures 7 alligators and place them in a disused alligator farm. Over the next 12 months, they feed them 3 times a week on an exclusive diet of shad. Blood samples are taken regularly and sent away for analysis. Slowly, the alligators fed on shad begin to change. They become lethargic, their back legs paralyzed. They barely move. The tests are turning the alligators into the living dead. Zombies.
They found that all the alligators that ate the shad eventually had reduced thiamine levels in their system. That experiment really supported our hypothesis.
But alligators have always eaten shad. So why is thymidase only affecting them now?
Gizzard shad numbers increased greatly, and the other species were much lower, and so the biodiversity was less, and therefore the alligators did not have the opportunity of getting their vitamin pill in the form of these other animals.
Usually alligators get enough thiamine from their other foods. Just as with Honeyfield's fish, it doesn't matter if they ingest thiaminase from the shad, as long as they get regular thiamine to bring them back to normal. The problems occur when they eat gizzard shad, almost exclusively. But the changing quality of the lake has brought about a massive increase in the shad, at the same time as a decline in other prey species, such as bass and bluegill.
You know, a fish that survives very well on eating bottom sediments and algae is shad. Well, the shad population exploded.
That fish is found in highly nutrient-rich lakes. It really likes those kind of conditions.
The more shad there are, the worse the situation will get. The authorities take a radical step. They extract the shad from all 9,000 acres of Lake Griffin.
And so we had this project to remove gizzard shad. Well, when we started harvesting the gizzard shad out of Lake Griffin, and the water quality was improving in Lake Griffin, the alligators stopped dying.